Eremos is more than a name. It's a way of life. It's our sanctuary, our escape from the noise, and our connection to the deeper meaning of our lives. It's about finding joy in the outdoors, seeking growth, and leaving the world a better place than we found it. Welcome to Elevate and Explore, a podcast where we dive into the beauty of nature, self-discovery, and the endless possibilities that come with living intentionally. Welcome to our journey.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Elevate and Explore podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Aaron.
and tonight we want to just get back together, get in the groove of some recap. So we've had some really great conversations over the past couple weeks. We've had 4 really good episodes that we had a lot of takeaways from. We talk about just defining what Eremos is and Eremos outdoor gear. We talk about our friendship as people. We talked about manifestation and some mindset and motivation and some spirituality. We also talked about some mindset, accountability, and just mental strength exercises to help get you over some humps and kind of highlight and shine on some positivity. And then we talked about just the growth of a man, of what it takes and what it takes to not only be successful, but also to provide and be nurturing and being that ideal depiction of this manly man that can take care of things and protect and provide. So in tonight's discussion, I think just Aaron and I would like to capture on some of these points and talk about some of the impacts of some of these conversations have had on our lives and where it's taking us, where it's taken us so far, and overall just the types of people that we've had to grow into.
Yes, growth. Growth is a huge part of it. Think back of where we were, where we're going, where we are now. To get anywhere in life, you need growth. I think a lot of things we talk about, a lot of things we want to do, you can't do it without growth. That's probably one of the most important things you can do is have growth inside. Look at who you are, where you've been, where you want to go in life, what you need, how you need to grow to make all those things happen.
That idea of where you are currently and where you want to be, thinking of how far and distant that is, there's not that many steps in between where you want to go and where you're at now. And it takes some internal change. It takes some pain and suffering. It might take a whole bunch of euphoric experiences. It might take an absolutely catastrophic event to incite that, stopping point of being tolerable for what is now and what could be. And I know in my personal life, I was actually just talking to my brother the other night about the reality of him and I. We're yin and yang. He's very calm, methodical, and stable, and he's very consistent. He's had the same job for many years. He's done the same thing for a long time. He's young. He's got a baby. They're a toddler now. Great woman on by his side, and he told me, he's like, I see people around me that don't want to change, that they don't strive for anything more. He says, I don't understand it. And it took me, a powerful couple of seconds to actually absorb that, because it's like me, on the other hand, I'm dynamic. I'm spontaneous. I got to try anything and everything at least 5 times to tell you that I don't like it. And if I don't like it, I might like it for the right circumstance. And if it's, something that gives you a thrill or adrenaline, or it's just excitement or adventure, you got to have it. And I've found a lot of the time in my life that that's put me in an awkward situation. And when you get into that awkward situation, I think we said right at the beginning of our podcast, is you try and pray your way out of something that, you gotta, beg, this is my chance, just give me a second chance, or let me just show you what I can do. And I think if you do that enough, it puts you into the frame of reality that nobody's coming, nobody's giving you that chance. And no matter how, I don't want to sound arrogant, but no matter how spiritual and firm you stand on your faith, it is not, say, the word of God that changes your life. It is you changing your life to fit the word of God, or it's not your family or that picture perfect boyfriend or girlfriend you could imagine that comes into your life and changes it. It is you that changes to be able to obtain that. And that pain and suffering that we go through, I think, is just a very gentle reminder of nothing lasts forever. And
Hmm.
if it's great right now, it's not going to be great for long. And if it's bad right now, it's not going to be bad forever.
Sure. Yeah, and everybody's journey of change and growth is all very personable, is very personal. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's reason why they decide to grow and change is different than the next one. Someone maybe they've been going through hell for 9 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and they finally just, oh, I want to change. I need to change. Maybe someone just wakes up tomorrow. You know what? I need to change my life around. It's different for everybody. There's no right or wrong way to go about growth and change. But like you said, nobody can do it other than yourself. You got to want it, and you're the one that's got to do it. Um, I for me, it was a culmination of a lot of different things that were going on in my life a year ago to instigate and push the changes that I did. Nothing was overnight. It all took, some things faster than others, but to where I am now, it was a culmination of things over and just little things I did here and there. And with me, the biggest thing I've found with growth and change and sticking with it is the discipline to stay at it every day, stay at what I want to do and where I want to go down the road. So growth is one thing, change is one thing, but sticking with it and the discipline to continue on is, for me, the hardest part.
It is. And, the discipline of wanting to stay in that rut of good things are happening and we're going towards a better direction. It's equally just as painful as staying in the rut of not changing and doing everything the same for the next 40, 50 years or however long you choose. Um, I've been a bear witness to a bunch of people that say this, and I've probably even said it myself, is, oh, this is what I'm going to do, and I hope it works.
Hmm.
This is what I'm going to do, and I hope for this outcome. I'm praying for it. I'm I'm gonna do just these couple things, and this is automatically just gonna fall into my lap. And what you fail to realize is that it's not only those 2 or 3 or 4 things that you have to do, but how consistently and continuously that you have to perform those tasks in order to
Yep.
get any movement at all. Um, as I think some of our viewers have picked up by now, or I may have said it on a couple episodes, but I have a business in construction management. I help whoever I can help with that very skillful and technical side of their business, and I've used some of that experience to go out and build a software company. And I had a call the other day with somebody, and I get into these calls, I get nervous, I get anxious, I say, oh, it's just all this work I've done for 2 years has not gotten anywhere, and I get miserable about it. And the reality is, this guy looks at everything that I've done and he says, you have done all of the hard work. In 2 years, you have done the hard work that some people have not done in 5 to 10 years. And it's like, I worked every single day, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours time. And that was my result. To hear that, I was like, that is as good a feedback as you need. And it has nothing to do with the outcome. It is this process and journey along the way.
Hmm.
You get your butt handed to you, you get knocked down, you get tears, you've got, pain and suffering and all these things. At, once that's over, whatever is to come is so much of a better feeling.
Sure.
And
That's
I
a
think
great example of you know, nothing you're going to do, you're never going to see results overnight. It's all compounding of doing things consistently over and over and over and over, doing it when you don't want to do it when you hate it, do it when you enjoy it. And when you least expect it, just like you just said, someone tells you that, hey, great job.
Yeah.
It'll all come to fruition eventually, but you just got to stick with it. And I know I struggle with that a lot, and I know the vast majority of the population struggles with just staying consistent and staying after something that you're passionate about.
Well, it's, we had another podcast episode where we talked about manifestation and just getting this
Hmm.
idea deeply rooted into your mind that this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I'm going to do, this is what it looks like, this is what it feels like, this is what it smells like. This manifestation idea is not a new world activity. It's not something that we just pull out of thin air and make believe. If you consistently just put your mind on one thing, that's all you can think about. That's all you can do, and it's only going to put you closer to that goal. So, you know, I think a lot of our manifestations around big deer and pretty landscapes and mountains and having good campfire dinners, but there's a whole nother piece to that of enjoying life and having a good quality of life to spend time with family and friends. And I can't appreciate how much love being able to afford having an hour conversation with you once a week.
Hmm.
That's the greatest part of our life so far. I mean, we've been consistently doing that for 2 years, and to make that part of your life is an absolute that sickness or death obviously takes priority. But aside from that, we've been very consistent to each other and holding ourselves accountable to that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great example of consistency. I don't know that we necessarily set out to do it like that, but it's just something we started doing week after week after week. And if you miss it, like I was sick last week, I had the flu, and I felt terrible that I didn't have the physical or mental ability to sit down and do a podcast with you last week. It
Yeah.
definitely felt out of place to not be sitting there talking to you on a Tuesday night. So that's something that's just been ingrained in me, though, that Tuesday night, this is what we do.
Yeah.
So it's nice when you can get into a routine of, all right, it's Wednesday afternoon. This is what I do every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, call it. Just doing stuff consistently and repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's just
And
second nature.
it takes, I think we mentioned in another podcast, it takes a couple months to get into a good habit. And that takeaway of like, just because you did it great for a week, still not sticky yet. It's not gonna, it's not the determination of this. You got to do it again, and you got to do it again, and you got to do it again, and you got to do it again. And it becomes so boring and mundane, like, oh, I got to go do it again. And it becomes boring and mundane if you have this, where is my gift type mentality versus the I'm getting closer to what I really want. I know I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. And I've had to tell myself that religiously for weeks now. You need to slow down, you need to savor the moment, enjoy what you have, enjoy this peace and quiet right now, because once you get what you want, you're gonna have to fight like hell in order to keep it. It's gonna be a miserable, you know, chaos all around to try and fight for that. So
Hmm. Yeah, one of the things that you got to have, I talk about it a bit on my videos. It kind of goes along with manifestation is visualization. Visualize, why you're or where you want to be 5 years down the road, and that helps make the what you got to do now that much easier to get to where you want to be. If you have a clear plan, a clear picture of where you want to be, where you want your life to look like, it's going to make doing all this mundane crap, you know, that much easier. Having a purpose
mhm.
behind why you're doing what you're doing, rather than just doing the same thing over and over. Having a why really helps. Having a picture really helps.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, that visualization side of it is I got it in front of me. It's in my wallet. It's in my truck. It's wherever you need to take it with you. This is my reminder. And next time you think you're about ready to get bitter, you just look down and remind yourself what it's all for. And there's a very large percentage of a chance that it has nothing to do with what you want, but it's what benefits those around you.
Hmm.
And if it doesn't benefit anybody around you, then there's a problem. And it's not. It's a selfish act, and it's not going towards a greater good. So it's hard to manifest something that's only serving one person.
100%. I don't know if I can't recall if this is a topic we touched on yet or not, but like you just said, doing stuff that serves people, that serves more than just you. If you're constantly chasing something that is only going to benefit you, that you're going to be the only person to gain anything out of it, you're doing things for the wrong reason. Um, I found that for myself personally. A year ago, I was chasing after what Aaron needs in life. How can Aaron get the most amount of money? How can Aaron get this, get that? And I realized it's not sustainable. It's not healthy. It's not a lot of things. I found a bigger purpose in giving to other people, helping other people, of course, I still got to come first with most things, but, a bigger picture than just me. How can I grow this, and how can I share the world with other people? How can I share my vision with others? How can I help others? And since I started looking at things at putting stuff out into the world for people other than just me, it's made things a lot easier. It's made the mundane stuff that much easier. It's made a whole lot of aspects of my life a lot easier. And I'm just so much happier and much more fulfilled by giving away, whether it's donating money, giving my time to people. It's just elevated my inner self exponentially.
Oh yeah, I mean, just the past couple years of my life for sure. I think there was a very good portion of, excuse me, there's a very short time of my life. I think probably 5 or 6 years or so, where I was absolutely bitter. I didn't want anything to do with people. I thought all people sucked. I didn't like talking to them. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do anything. Seeing people happy made me miserable. And this list just kept going on and on and on. And it got to the point where it was just, okay, this is not working. I miserable and depressed, and I felt as though like my manifested dream at that time was I didn't need to be on Earth any longer, and I was not a good person. And I stepped out of that comfort zone of being miserable and secluded, and got around some good people, and I started talking to people and started learning and trying to listen a little bit more and not talk as much. And I found that you just, you know, everybody's got a story. And the moment you stop and sit and listen and just hear somebody's pain, hear somebody's suffering, hear somebody's joys, hear somebody's excitement, it was kind of soothing. And, that the idea I had at the time was I wanted to start my own business. I was going to have a landscape company and, service all these people. And it, it was a great idea. It was something I enjoyed, but it was not
Mhm.
something that I felt as though I was in a place where I could consider home, and it was not in a place where I felt as though I had enough good people around me. I needed better people around me, and I took the first opportunity I could to move again, and being around a company of people who can all perform, that all enjoy life, that are all spiritual, that all enjoy hard work and a little fun. That was good for me. And it taught me real quick that once you get around these people, they're not going to tolerate you being a miserable, sack of crap. They're going to want to get somebody that's energetic and loving and positive and caring and all these other things. And as soon as you get out of that shell and you start seeing that, you're like, okay, here's a list of all the things that I can change right now. Here's the list of the things that I can't change, but I can work on. And that list over a course of say 2 to 3 years was absolutely huge, and the only way I could possibly survive at that point. And to get here now and look back and say, talking to people, listening to their story, being able to provide them with something to service them, listening and being able to offer a solution or just offer a shoulder to cry on or lean on. Um, that really helped. I think the platform that we've created with this podcast and our community approach of just make friends with people, go out and talk about stuff.
Yep.
That has been our greatest asset that I think we could ever ask for.
Yeah, I think we both went through, I know I personally went through a lot of my life in a very selfish way. I think you did too, to a little point, but you got out of it, and getting rid of selfishness and being open and letting your light shine, and put it in other people, and it's amazing, and you can just see the light shine out of other people. When you break away that selfishness, and just live for others rather than just yourself. It's amazing what it can do for your life and your inner soul. It's just, I feel like when you're selfish, I walked around with this gigantic weight that just dragged me down and dragged people down around me, for no reason.
Yeah, for sure. The that dragging, feeling like a drag and feeling like a letdown eat me alive there for a while. And I tried to, anything and everything I could touch to try and get rid of that feeling was a possible solution at the time. And, my brother and I reminisced the other night about how much it takes to change. And he says, "You remember that time we'd go and go booze cruising through somebody's field? Or remember that time we do this?" And I said, "Yeah, it's a good thing we can't get away with that now."
Yeah.
And we were young, and that was an appropriate time to do that, I guess. But at the same time, it was, very damaging and potentially dangerous situation if somebody could have got caught in that. And looking back on it, it was a very painful lesson with some of the things we endured. However, could have been much more painful. So
Oh,
we're very
absolutely.
blessed and grateful for that.
But I also feel like at the same point, a lot of stuff like that is a little, part of growing up, doing stupid crap when you're young. And, you and I have done plenty of stupid crap together. And, I couldn't imagine doing that stuff nowadays. It's all part of growing and looking back and be like, hey, yeah, we did some stupid stuff, but now we're pretty responsible. That stuff's in the past. And
Oh yeah, in the grand
moving
scheme
on.
of things, it's almost like we're mellow now.
I know. How about it?
Can't
But that's a
take it.
good thing. All
Oh,
part
for
of
sure.
growth, comes back to growth. I feel like there is a lot of people that do get stuck in that way, that, just do continuous stupid crap their whole life, never grow up, never have inner growth, just stuck in this same way for their entire life. And for some people that might be okay, but I know for me, I know for you, neither of
Yeah,
us want to live like that our entire life. We want to grow. We want to be constantly try and be the best versions of ourselves. Without growth, that never happens.
for sure. I think that, picture of the person you want to become and having that in front of you. And, we talked about the growth of a man and coming from just some sketchy situations to somewhere that you never thought you'd be. And if that's truly what you're looking for in life, or you want to be this respectable man and honorable and have your stuff together, provide and protect, or if you want to be very smart, educated, and serve others and a professional, the list is endless. Like whatever that ideal picture is of understanding who you are or who you want to be, and just keeping that in front of you of 5 years. If I'm not doing these things, I'm not going to be who I say I am.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes saying, there's a really great example of, well, I'm just an asshole. That's who I am. That's who I am. Is a terrible statement. It is pitiful, quite honestly, because It's not who you are. That's not who you were meant to be. That's not what somebody admires about you. The fact that you're, belligerent and loudmouth and cocky and all bad words included. Um, it is the part where you're kind and caring and generous and supportive and you're willing to help others. So if you're going to sit there and look yourself in the mirror and say, this is who I am, and that's not how you're acting, that's that painful discussion we talked about of just how hard it is to look yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same point, I can completely understand, some people look at themselves and think that they can never change. I know I was stuck there for a while, and maybe this just who I am. What could I possibly do to become a better person? What could I possibly do to get to where I want to be? Maybe this is just how life is supposed to be, and you just deal with it. It took a while to realize that I absolutely can change, but I got to do it. I got to do the hard work. I got to put in the tough times. I got to make those hard decisions, and all it takes is just one decision and just going for it.
Yeah.
But it can take a lot to have that faith in yourself that you can do it. It's so easy to just be stuck and, you know what, maybe I don't need to change. Maybe this is how I am. And I feel like that happens to a lot of people, and it's unfortunate. And those are the type of people I want to reach out and help try and change, because I did it. They can do it. It's just, some people, I figured it out myself, but I feel like a lot of people need a little guidance and a little push. And I want to help be that guidance, that light in people's lives.
Absolutely. And it's not that people necessarily need the push, but they've never known what that push felt like. They never knew what it meant to have somebody who is like, you know what, you're a winner. Let's go. I'll show you how. And I see so many people, and I think everywhere you go, you see them as you see somebody who they've got these goals, they've got these ambitions, they've got these dreams, they've got all things that they want to accomplish. They have this grand vision, and they will often say that they're working to get there. They will often tell you that, oh well, I'm going to be there. You just wait and watch. But consistently over the course of the past couple of years, or the time that you've known this person, or just some of their demeanor, the way that they act, things that they do, in very short time, you can weed through and say, this is not what you're saying. This something's not adding up here. So it's you're not doing the work, but your self-awareness is off, or you've got this kind of almost fantasy type thing going on. And one of my problems is like, how do I know that I'm not in the fantasy being this type of person? Or how do I know that I'm actively working towards my goal and I'm making strides in success? Well, it's times like enjoying the small victories, enjoying the peace and quiet, enjoying some of these things that you've never really had a chance to experience. Meanwhile, somebody's telling you you're doing a great job. Somebody is telling you this is awesome. Somebody's telling you like, here, you know what? Let me show you how to do something. And it's a little bit different than what you're used to, but it's going to completely change the way that you function from now on. And it's like, you could stumble with the only way that you know for years on end, but you're not willing to take 2 to 3 weeks to try something new and completely change your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said, sometimes it's hard to see the change. A lot of times it does take outside set of eyes to be like, you know what, I really see a difference in you. I can tell you've been putting in the work, and then you realize, wow, you know what, you're right. I didn't really notice that I'm actually getting where I wanted to go. So a lot of times it feels like you're just churning butter constantly and you're not getting anywhere. And then, someone will come along and be like, hey, great job, bud. Give you a little pat on the back. And that really means a lot when you can't see it for yourself. That little bit of external validation can go very, very long ways. You still need to give yourself the internal validation, but external validation always feels good as well.
Mhm. And that internal validation is like, I did a really good job today. Or it's like you do something, you're like, you stand there and look back at it, take a picture, and you're like, that was a good job. Those types of moments I think go a long way.
Yeah, something I do a lot. Um, I try and read every day. I don't get to it every day, but like last night I sat down, I read a chapter and a half. When I was done, I pat myself on the back. I was like, "Good job, you did it." And those little things for me, they go a long way. They That puts a big smile on my face, makes me feel good about myself, and makes me want to, hop and do it again tomorrow night.
Hmm.
It's enjoying those little victories, giving yourself the congratulations when you did what you said you were going to do. I think
Oh,
that's
it's
go
there's
ahead.
a whether you're in a relationship or you're, on your own working through something, I think there's something to be said about, gratitude, appreciation, and that part of love is that's all human needs, like, and that's something that has to be met. And how we meet those often takes time. And it's like for somebody to show you love, what does that mean to you as a person? Everybody's going to have a different answer, but we talked about love languages, we talked about,
Hmm.
a person can give and receive love typically 1 to 2 ways, primarily, but they will often experience a portion of all five. They have to have physical touch, they have to have some sort of words, kind words of affirmation. They like quality time. Maybe they're giving or receiving gifts, or maybe it's just the physical touch piece of just getting a hug, a handshake, a pat on the back. So all these pieces and parts, whether you're, you know, reading a book, did a good job, hey, catering to yourself and self-love and, affirmation. Or if you're in a relationship and somebody does something nice for you, it's like, thank you. I really appreciated that. That was exactly what I needed today. And no matter how small
Yes.
or insignificant it may seem, it's just like that was the part that boosted my day.
Hmm. Yeah, those little things can go such a long way. It's amazing, how a simple thank you, simple great job, it can really stick with you, stick in your mind, and just give you that little extra push that you might have needed that day. It's just the little things. I love the little
Hmm.
things.
Yeah. And it doesn't come quick. Sometimes it's a spur of the moment thing. And it's, lately I've found myself saying how much I appreciate stuff and how thankful I am, just because some of it's stuff that I've never had, uh,
Hmm.
whether it be business related with nice people and kind people, and you know being able to charge what I'd like to charge on a project, or um, just coming home and banana bread or dinner or get a glass of chocolate milk's made. Like that's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I'm thinking about what he's saying about the love languages. I highly recommend for anybody, whether you're in a relationship or single, pick up the book called The Five Love Languages. I forget exactly who it's by. I'd show it to you, but I just loaned it out to somebody who needed it. Excellent book. It'll really help you
Gary
learn a
Chap,
lot about yourself and relationships. There you go.
Gary Chapman,
Yes, excellent book. Ryan's actually the one who told me about it.
and it was a very great book that was referred to me, and I was a little hesitant at first to read it, but there was a lot of good takeaways from it. And for somebody that I don't want to say bitter and sour, but wasn't really sure what love was, it was a great eye opener.
Mhm.
Definitely helped.
Yeah, while we're on the topic, something that's really helped me that I found that I always thought I despised reading. I always, going through high school, going through college, I never read a freaking book. I'd read the cliff notes. I always said I hated reading. I'd read a couple pages and I couldn't retain anything, wouldn't remember anything. And that was just a belittling mindset in myself that I told myself. So last year I decided, you know what? I'm going to start reading. So I picked up a book. I think the first book I picked up last year was, off the top of my head, I can't think of it. But what I started doing is I started reading 2 or 3 pages a night, sometimes 2 or 3 pages a week. And man, this sucks. It takes me 20 minutes to read 3 pages. This is terrible. I still don't remember anything, but it came down to consistency again. I consistently started reading week after week. I started reading every other day, then every day. I got to a book in, I think, 2 months, which for me was an absolute groundbreaking thing. So then I started pushing myself. Well, let's get to one book a month. That's where I was at, and now I'm working on trying to get to a book and a half, 2 books a month. And if anybody struggles with reading something I did, I thought it sounded dumb in the beginning, but I would sit there and I would read out loud to myself. I'd sit here in my apartment and just read out loud, and it really helped me remember it a lot more. It helped me with my reading proficiency as well. So I've read a lot of self-help books, a lot of books on investing and all sorts of things, and that has really boosted my self-confidence. It's helped boosted my self-awareness, my intellect, my conversational habits. It's helped all sorts of things in my life, just by picking up a book and reading. So I highly recommend to anybody who doesn't read, pick up a book and start reading. It doesn't matter what it's on, whether it's fiction, nonfiction. Start picking up, read 2 or 3 pages, put it down, walk away, and come back to it in a day or two, and it'll change your life. I know it's changed my life.
And the thing is, like with so many books now, I've found a pattern where it's like I'm reading books from 1950s, 60s, and 70s when these things are written.
Yeah.
And it's like like these people never knew what a cell phone was. They never knew how fast communication could be. They never knew texting. They never knew email. Like some of these books you read, the people talking about the problems that they have or the struggles they're going through or their successes, their wins are all relatable to you as a human. And it is the most raw form of what a human should be and act and do in many cases, because it was untainted by social media and phones and this fast response. And it's ironic that we have phones that I can send a text in instant, but I somehow don't communicate with some people for months on end.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it has never been easier. You don't have to even lick a stamp anymore. You literally just type out what you're going to say. It's ironic.
Yeah. Hey, and those old books, they're probably more relevant now than they ever were.
Oh yeah.
Some of the things, just getting back to the old way of doing things. I've read a few old books, like Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know that's not too old, but it was written in the 80s, I think. But whatever, a lot of this old information is still so relevant. So don't be afraid to pick up a book that was written the 1920s, 1930s, 40s, 50s. There'll be plenty of information in there that is very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Well, what else is on your mind?
Really don't have much. I mean, that whole topic of just recapping what we talked about, for 4 weeks, I think was good to get off my chest. I think, from a personal experience standpoint, you and I might as well just be two faces on the internet that nobody has any clue who they are. The reality is we're two really good friends. We are two, loving, caring, nurturing people. I don't think I've ever been around you and we had malicious intent towards each other. And even if we were arguing, I think we were able to settle it rather quickly. So this approach of, okay, well, these are people I want to do life with. These are people that I want to be around, best friends or not. We have both seen and witnessed each other's struggles and hardships, as well as good times and great times. And to be able to go through that, even flow of good to bad, up, down, I think it gives us a lot of credibility to talk about some of these topics and also share some of the pain and struggle and suffering and some of that euphoria, that really
Yeah.
great time, that happy time, because there's some people that are going through things that are way worse that
Hmm.
we can't even fathom. And maybe all they just needed was a kind word. And there's some people
Sure.
that are going through great things that they never could have imagined. And there's a chance that you and I have probably done that. And it was a great
Yeah.
time. But it's like there's a bigger picture. Keep setting the bar and just see how much you can accomplish and how much you're willing to try to achieve. And
Yeah.
I think that speaks a lot of volume. And I think it really helps outline what the purpose and intent of the podcast is. And it makes it very relatable. Um, I said the other day, it sucks that you and I both sit at a computer desk doing these podcasts and we're not out camping, but that's not where the time is right yet. That's not what the
Yeah, we'll get
situation
there.
calls for. And when that time comes, it'll just be another testament of how hard we actually put in effort to get there. So um, that's really all I had to talk about today. I've been brewing on that for a couple of days now, and I think I got most of it out. So
Okay. Well, I just wanted to circle back to something real quick. You said about credibility. So everything that Ryan and I talk about on here is all stuff that we have personally been through. We're not up here trying to preach anything that we don't know about. Something we've never been through. We try and keep it real and give real life stories, real life experiences. Try and give advice on things that we have each been through, or that we've seen someone very close to us go through. I don't ever want to sit up here and someone think I'm, just spewing out crap just to spew out crap. We're up here trying to be our most authentic selves and, try and give the most heartfelt talks out to other people to try and help as many people as we can. So I feel our credibility is there, from we've both been through a lot. So, we're just here being our true selves, giving ourselves to you guys.
yeah, I think that the true self, I think, is a huge piece of where we're at today, just in life in general. Is there's not very many people you can turn to that are authentic, original, truthful type people, and I'm sure there's probably a bunch out there, but um, the ambitious type, the eager type, the willing type, I would love. We need a call to action button, or maybe just a link in the description. But we want people to tell your story.
Yeah.
Join the podcast. Let's hop on. Let's have a conversation. Let's tell some stories. Let's again, the pain, the suffering, the struggles, the good times, the bad times. That most joyful moment in your life. I think it'd be great to talk about. So if we can get some people that are willing to try and share their story, um, some people that are willing to talk and ask questions or answer questions. I think it would be great to get some of our audience to chime in and maybe give us a highlight, what your favorite moment is of the podcast. What is it about the podcast you enjoy? I think there's a handful of call to action that we can bring here, and I think it would be
Yeah.
good to see some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody out here watching, has a story to tell, wants to have a conversation, we're more than happy to talk to you. And you don't have to be scared. It's not like we're sitting in an audience, in front of an audience with 100 people. It's just be the three of us sitting here talking. One of my mentors says, anytime you have the chance to get up and talk, take it. You'll be amazed at what can come from it. And I know me and you talking here every week, it really helps boost my self-confidence, because I always disliked talking in front of people. I know I'm not necessarily doing it right now. Singing in front of an audience would be much different, but it's a darn good start. So don't be afraid to approach us if you want to get on and have a conversation. We're here. We'll help you.
Absolutely, and I think it goes without saying that that piece of self confidence and telling your story, it might just be the kickstart somebody needs to tell their story online and use this as a platform to go out and do good and great things. So anybody that is working on a project, a business, some sort of life endeavor, and maybe you just need somebody to talk to, we'd be happy to talk to you.
100%. Well, I think that's a good place to close. So, if you watched this far, we appreciate your time. Even if you only watched a couple minutes, we appreciate your time. So thank you. We look forward to giving you guys more content and life stories and helping you where we can.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, we definitely appreciate it, and we look forward to next week's episode.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.